Hello everybody, welcome back to GrindCraft. Now, we're here today because I thought it had been long enough that I wanted to give an update. And I've got a list now, so hopefully I won't miss anything on this little update video for you. And I'm just hoping to get through everything, so let's go through it. First up, you can see there's a new quarry started because I finished this third deep slate quarry. This is now a total of 75 chunks where I've removed everything except for the bedrock. And then there's also these two chunks down here that I've removed the bedrock from, as I talked about in the last video. I did do a little bit of bedrock breaking for a little bit in between the last update and now, but honestly, it is just a slow process. So something I've actually been thinking about is potentially using the fill command to replace the bedrock in these chunks with air, and then the bedrock in the surrounding chunks with deep slate from the second, like the penultimate layer of bedrock. So there'd still be this lowest level of bedrock, but the rest of them would just be, well, in this area would be replaced by air, and in other areas that I haven't mined out yet, they would be replaced by deep slate. And my thinking there is that I think I've demonstrated that I can remove bedrock. Like, I've done it for 2 chunks fully, and I've almost completed 2 more chunks, but it's such a long process that I'm not sure it's worth me doing. And if I'm going to be perfectionist about it, then maybe I should just use the commands that the game has given me to accomplish what I'm looking to do. So that's what I've been thinking about lately on the bedrock breaking front. But I'm not sure if I've decided yet, and yeah, I don't know. I guess if you've got thoughts about that, put it in the comments. But yeah, no worries either way. I ultimately decide what I want to do, but I think it might be helpful, I guess, if you think that that would be okay, to let me know in the comments, because I think that there is some part of me that doubts whether that is an okay thing to do. Somehow it feels to me like it's betraying the mission of the world. I don't know. I'm not sure that makes any sense, but that's one thing that's been on my mind. Coming back up here, we do have, so like I said, we have this new quarry, and I've decided to go for the old style of quarrying, which I used to do when we were just doing stone quarries, which is to just clear out one layer at a time rather than trying to do a single chunk at a time. Now this is somewhat easier on this area because there's only 2 slime chunks you can see on the map there. There are slimes that you have to fight every once in a while, but hey, who can complain about getting a few slime balls here and there, right? On the other side, oh, and by the way, this is where the Black Lives Matter mural used to be. I did tear it down, and like I said in the last video, I said I was going to do that. It's just because I don't want it to be there. It's basically stopping expansion in that direction, so if I ever get to the point where I've dug out these nine quarries in the center of the world here, and I want to keep expanding, that mural would have blocked me from doing that. But then also I came over here and I removed all the glass from this next quarry, and I've got a beacon set up for it already. So that was the beacon that used to be over in this quarry. So we're all set to basically complete the first 125 chunks down to bedrock, including stone and deep slate. The only thing standing in the way is me getting around to doing it, so that's going to be kind of tricky about that. Now, the next thing is the sorter. It has evolved since we last spoke. I'm not sure how I managed to change the way that I was doing deep slate placement here, but you can see the directionality has changed. I used to only have 3 modules of sorters, deep slate, tough, and gravel. I've added stone, andesite, granite, diorite, dirt, and grass. So now we can not only do deep slate quarrying, but we can do stone quarrying, and that helps for 2 reasons. First of all, as you can see at the top here, there's 4 levels, there's 4 layers of this quarry that will include stone, diorite, granite, andesite, all that good stuff that you get in a normal stone quarry. And I wanted to be able to dump the outputs of this into the sorter just like anything else. And without expanding the sorter, I wasn't able to do that, so I'm glad to have expanded that now. Yeah, the shulker boxes are all stocked up. It's all good to go. I added more shulker box inputs because now I've got so many different things. I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of shulker boxes being imported at any given time. I've also got these chests here. These used to be full. Most of them are empty now, but these are shulker boxes of quarry outputs that I have not yet inputted into the sorter. So I'm just basically from time to time running through and dumping them into these chests, and then I let it run for a while, and then I come back and I dump more in. The idea there is that I'd like to have everything sort of automatically sorted and not necessarily have to rely on these manually sorted shulker boxes that are just kind of sitting around, and they aren't really contributing to the organization of the storage system. I thought it might be nice to start getting that kind of sorted through. And down here, you can see our junk chests, quote unquote, are becoming a little bit more complex. They have a lot of overworld, like stone ores. They've also got some stuff that I'm getting from the excavation skill in MCMMO. If you've ever played with MCMMO before, you know that excavation means that when you dig dirt or sand or gravel, sometimes you just get random treasures, including glowstone dust and records, and it's not terribly useful, but it is what it is. Here you can see I've set up sort of a little miniature sort of half manual smelting system. The idea here is that I'd like to be able to increase my repair skill by manually smelting certain things. Mostly that's just ores, or rather raw ores. So like I'll take out every once in a while, if I can find it, you can see here, I took out a bunch of the deep slate iron ore that I'd already mined out, and I'd put it into, I fortuned it, so I got the raw iron chunks, and I put them into these smelters. So my my repair skill went up from that, and my smelting skill is already pretty high because my mining skill is absurdly high. So I'm not too worried about the smelting skill actually being that high, but it does help with my repair skill, which is useful because repair is a very difficult skill to level up. Next up, we'll go up here. So up here you can see we've got yet another beacon, and this is kind of the, if you've got sort of the 5 central 5x5 chunk areas that I've already started, this is the 6th. So this is where I'm going to be starting the expansion as I come out of sort of deep slate quarrying and get back into stone quarrying. And the reason that the beacon's already set up is, first of all, because I've been on a kick lately of just kind of going to the Nether Fortress and grinding out wither skeleton skulls from time to time, but also because I've found that since I'm using the MCMMO Super Breaker skill to do deep slate quarrying, I have significant downtime in between when I can actually do quarry work, and I think it makes sense for me to have multiple things that I could do sort of in the meantime. One of those things is kind of clearing out areas for the next level of the quarry. So like this 2-block gap here, I will do after I've done, like I'll do 2-block gaps after I've done a run of the main quarry. But that only accounts for like 1/3, I think, of my quarry, like my in-between quarry work. So I figured I'd just set up this stone quarry so that I could start making progress on it while I was in between quarry runs. And it's been, you know, as you can see, I've already started, and I've got sort of the borders marked out, and we've got, I've been working on getting the dirt kind of stripped out so I don't have to worry about all those weird excavation drops as much. I can just work on the stone because the stone's going to be the majority of the work here anyways. But yeah, I think it'll be useful for me to have this kind of outlet for me to keep making progress on multiple different things at once. And yeah, it's been good. I'm glad I set that up. I'm glad that it was available for me to set up because I've already done all like the foresting deforesting that I need to do in this area, which is good. So I'm ahead of the curve on that for now, which is excellent. Over here, speaking of deforestation, I did start working on cutting some of the trees down in this, in this sort of area. There were specifically some trees that would have disrupted a quarry in this quadrant, so I made sure to cut those down, and I think there may be a few remaining, but they're pretty much gone now. And there's also a small portion of oak and birch trees, an oak and birch forest that was still over here. Oh look, there's still a few left. And I cut down most of those. I just wanted to make sure that I was still working primarily with spruce. And I also, you can see here, there's a bunch of, what's this, is podzol lying around. where I've been growing spruce trees, large spruce trees, because I found that they're an extraordinary way to get large amounts of wood very quickly with the MCMMO tree feller ability. So anytime I come over there and there's a bunch of large trees grown, I use the tree feller ability, and within like 5 seconds I have a stack and a half of spruce logs. It's fantastic. So I really don't have to worry about not having enough storage anymore, because I can build chests and barrels like there's no tomorrow. I think potentially one of the issues that I might run into at some point in the future is a lack of hoppers. Now, hoppers, I do have this little shulker box here that has a few hoppers in it, and I think that's probably going to be enough to expand the sorter even like to triple or quadruple its current size. But I am mindful of the fact that I don't have a lot of iron coming in, so it might be time for me to start making an iron farm at some point in the near future, but I have not yet reached that point, so we'll get there. Yeah, other things that I'm thinking about include making this sorter sort of an intermediary step. Right now I only have 2 chests available for each item output, and I've got these lights here to indicate when one of these hoppers has items in it. So if one of those lights is staying on, I know that the bottommost chest is full. And I think that's a good enough indicator for now that I need to like do something about it. But if you come up here, one of the problems that I'm going to have is kind of twofold. We're going up to the biggest storage output that I have at the moment. This is, nailed it. This is the deep slate storage. So you can see here we have 32 full barrels of shulker boxes full of deep slate. Now that's a lot of deep slate, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe it would be better if instead of storing all these shulker boxes, so these shulker boxes aren't being used for anything, they're just compressing my storage right now. What if I spent some time moving all of the contents of those shulker boxes into barrels in the world somewhere? And, you know, it doesn't have to necessarily be in these chunks that I've mined out. It could be in the end, or it could be somewhere, you know, thousands of blocks away, just as like a temporary warehouse sort of thing, where like I don't have to see it all the time, but it's there and I can use it for my storage, and that frees up a bunch of shulker boxes that otherwise would just be tied up storing random crap in my world. Now, as much as I am able to get shulker boxes, and I can make a shulker farm, the shulker farm that I had built prior to sort of starting recording back up, it's not working anymore. I guess there was a patch that broke the shulker farm design that I had been using in 1.19. I think in 1.20 maybe there, or 1.20.2, there was a change that broke the shulker farm that I was using. So I can no longer use that version of the farm. I would have to basically go and get shulkers from the end, transport them to the overworld, and then use a nether portal based farm, which seems fairly complex for me to set up. Now, it's not impossible, but it is something that it gives me pause. So I'm not quite there, and I do have a fair number of shulker shells left. I'm not going to run out anytime soon, but at the same time, I am thinking about what happens if I run out of shulker boxes. Do I want to continue using them as my primary sort of storage mechanism? And I think that the answer is becoming increasingly no. So I'm thinking about that. It's one of those things that I'm going to continue thinking about and probably make a decision on, you know, later, kind of on my own, but I am not quite there yet. Now, for in the Nether, I think last time we spoke, I talked about the fact that I'd been busy, and I cleared out this first sort of area, this first beacon radius, and that's a great start and all. And then I talked about how this sort of second area that I wanted, the second quarry that I wanted to work on in the Nether, I kind of took a break because I had realized that there was a huge lava lake that I had to clear out first. Well, I'm happy to report that I have done a fair amount of work, even just today, on this, and I am very nearly there. You can see that the end of that deep slate line is where the end of the 5th chunk is in this quarry. So we are very much to the point where I could start work on this quarry. It's mostly just a matter of I've been having a pretty good time doing the overworld quarry, and I haven't necessarily spent much time on this. So I'm pretty much there. I'll probably spend some time from time to time finishing the gravel placing in this area. but I have not had the opportunity to do so just yet, and we'll get there eventually. Just one of the things that I've been doing as well is just taking time, because those magma creams are not terribly threatening. I use them to increase my unarmed skill, which is kind of a silly numbers thing. It's just like, ooh, number go up. Yay, dopamine, whatever. Or is it serotonin? Who knows? Anyways, so that's the update on the nether side. I think maybe by the next time we speak, I may have done some more work in the nether. I'd like to make progress in the nether, given that I haven't even finished that first chunk. So I think that's something that I'll commit to as like something I definitely want to start working on. But as of now, it is basically the same as when we last spoke. It's just that that gravel is better spread. I hear you, Gasp. Where are you? He's not here. That's not the gas. That's my cat. Okay, so I think with that, we've pretty much talked about all of it. I'm just gonna come back into the overworld and take a quick look around and make sure I'm not missing anything. But I think I've pretty much covered it. Yeah, I think the only other thing is kind of this big quarry that I finished. I didn't really talk about it much, except to say I did it, and now we're working on the next one. Well, let's just take a moment to celebrate the fact that we've done now a full 75 chunks, completely dug down to bedrock. It's, you know, it's not necessarily the biggest accomplishment in the world. It's not like, you know, this is a first in Minecraft. Like, somebody's done this before. I know, I've seen videos like this. I've seen people do stuff like this before. And I don't think that I'm necessarily extraordinary in doing this, but it did take me a long time. This world started in 2020. Like, we're 4 years hence from the creation of this world, if you come down to the history book. If I can find it. Yeah. June 2020, so yeah, we're coming up on the 4th anniversary, and now we're 6 pages into the grand history book. This was just a few days ago that I finished this third 5x5 chunk area, so it's definitely been a process. And obviously they had to create Deep Slate before I could actually do this, but it has been a long process, and it's not insignificant, you know. It's something that has taken me a long time to accomplish through struggles with game mechanics and updates, and sort of changing the way that I play the game to fit how I wanted to sort of structure the world, as well as, you know, struggles with my own sort of different in real life struggles. Like IRL, I've been struggling with a lot over the past year, and you know, I haven't really talked about that much on YouTube, but I've been really struggling with kind of figuring out who I am. And I think despite all the changes in my life, Minecraft will remain forever part of who I am. So I might not be making videos very frequently, and I might not be streaming, but at the very least, y'all can rest easy that I'm not going to stop playing Minecraft, and I'm not going to stop playing GrindCraft. Like, the purpose of this world was always to be my forever home. So I hope y'all are enjoying the updates from this server, and I hope you all enjoy Minecraft as much as I do, because, you know, I think that's something that maybe you don't necessarily take time to do every once in a while, is just kind of step back and look and be like, oh yeah, like, this is something that I've built. This is something that I've done. This is something that I've accomplished in this game. Well, that's a pretty good feeling. So I think that's enough rambling from me. Thank you all for watching, and you know, do the normal YouTube, social media stuff, subscribe, like, comment, whatever. You know, I'm not under any circumstances delusional here. This is not going to be a huge channel. This is not going to be a huge video, but hey, if you like the video, like the video. Simple, right? Anyways, I'll leave it there, and thank you all for watching once again. I'll catch up with you again soon, I hope, with another GrindCraft update, because I've been busy, so I'm sure I'll have more to report soon. But for now, that'll be it from GrindCraft. See you later, everybody.